Hey peeps, so I wanted to share something I frequently muse on. It's something that the philosopher Alan Watts would discuss in his lectures. He'd say, I wonder what you would do if you had the power to dream at night any dream you wanted to dream, and you would of course be able to alter your time sense and slip, say, 75 years of subjective time into 8 hours of sleep. You would, I suppose, start out by fulfilling all of your wishes. You could design for yourself what would be the most ecstatic life. Love affairs, banquets, dancing girls, wonderful journeys, gardens, music beyond belief. And then after a couple of months of this sort of thing, 75 years a night, you'd be getting a little taste for something different. And you'd move into a more adventurous dimension, where there were sudden dangers involved and the thrill of dealing with dangers. And you could rescue princesses from dragons and go on dangerous journeys and make wonderful explosions and blow them up. Eventually, you'd get into contest with enemies, and after you've done that for some time, you'd think up some new wrinkle. To forget that you were dreaming, right? So you'd think it was all for real and be anxious and really absorbed in it. Because it'd be so amazing when you woke up, and then you'd say, kind of like how children who dare each other on things, how far out could you get? What could you take? What dimensions of being lost, of abandonment of your power? What dimension of that could you truly stand? You could ask yourself this because you'd eventually just wake up. And then after you've gone on doing this for some time, you know where you'd find yourself? You'd find yourself sitting around in this very room with all your personal involvements, problems, etc., talking with me. Now, how do you know that's not what you're doing? I mean, it could be because, after all, what would you do if you were God? If you were what there is, the self, or what's spoken of in the Upanishads, the basic text of Hinduism. One of them starts out by saying, in the beginning was the self, and looking around said, I am. And thus it is that everyone to this day, when asked who is there, says that it is I. If you were God, and in this sense that you knew everything, you would be perfectly bored. Because if looking at it from another way, we push technology to its furthest possible development. And we had, instead of cell phones, or back in Alan's day, dial-up telephones on one's desk. Suppose we had a more complicated system of buttons, and one touch would give you anything you wanted, Aladdin's lamp essentially. You'd eventually have to add a button labeled Surprise Me, because all perfectly known futures are past. They've happened virtually. It's the only true future that is a surprise. So if you were God, the very first thing you'd say to yourself is, man, get lost, end quote. Now, I've often thought about this after hearing it first from Alan Watts. I'm not trying to press some belief system upon you. When it comes to what happens to us after we die, I'm about as uncommitted as you can be. I haven't a clue what happens. The only thing I'm absolutely certain of is my existence right now. When you truly take the time to contemplate the odds, the distant and remote odds of your appearance on this world scene, the certainty that consciousness just abruptly comes to an end upon the death of your brain, that to me doesn't seem any less of a superstition as the idea that consciousness may go on in some capacity or another. Thomas Nagel once wrote this, "It seems outlandish that the centerless universe in all its spatio-temporal immensity should have produced me, of all people. There was no such thing as me for ages. But with the formation of a particular physical organism at a particular place and time, suddenly there is me, for as long as the organism survives. How can the existence of one member, of one species, have this remarkable consequence?" End quote. And so I'd probably push his question further and ask, how can the emergence of consciousness within a member of one species not have this consequence in perpetuity? Indeed, find me something that exists which does not possess some kind of presence, life, or awareness, intelligence. Even the rocks exhibit some resonance with their environment. After all, what's biology? Biology is chemistry and physics, is it not? If evolution is true, then we are stardust. We are children of the rocks. The genome, which is the most sophisticated message ever discovered in nature, at last happened to appear with the perfect combination of right-handed and left-handed amino acids. Incalculable odds. We're not just talking about time and chance here. It's impossible odds. So again, tell me what exists that is not conscious or intelligent. Life after death may be a superstition, but so far as I can see, the notion that the lights just simply go out and you've run down the curtain, that seems to demand a lot of faith too. And so I frequently speculate on the possibility of life after death, the way Ernest Dowson did in that poem when he said, "They are not long the days of wine and roses. Out of a misty dream our path emerges for a while, then closes within a dream." Hey guys, did you like this video? You know what to do. And if something I mentioned today resonated with you, click one of them cards on this screen. I have lots of related content sure to interest you. Thanks as always for your views, and we'll see you next time.